In 1971, a brutal military crackdown in East Pakistan forced millions of refugees across the Indian border. The influx of nearly 10 million people created a massive economic burden, consuming 4% of India's central budget just to manage the crisis. India's military leadership knew intervention was inevitable, but the chiefs of the Army, Navy, and Air Force all demanded more time. They argued that waiting until December would ensure a decisive victory and minimize damage. To bridge the gap, India launched Operation X. They trained local commandos to swim into enemy harbors under the cover of night and attach limpet mines to Pakistani supply ships. The strategy crippled the maritime supply line. Within months, commandos had damaged or destroyed over 100 vessels, preventing thousands of tons of ammunition from reaching the front lines. This pressure forced Pakistan to take drastic measures. To break the naval strangulation, they realized they would have to eliminate India's most powerful naval asset before the ground war officially began. That asset was the INS Vikrant. It functioned as a city-sized airbase, capable of launching dozens of fighter jets to control the Indian Ocean. Its presence alone was enough to shift the entire balance of the naval theater. However, the Vikrant was struggling with major mechanical failures. Its catapult launcher was broken, and its boilers needed replacement parts from Britain that would take years to arrive, leaving the carrier highly vulnerable. Pakistan countered with the PNS Ghazi. This stealth submarine was their most sophisticated weapon, dispatched with a single secret mission: sink the Vikrant. The Ghazi was uniquely capable of this hunt. Its long-range fuel capacity allowed it to travel thousands of miles undetected, circling the entire Indian peninsula to reach the eastern coast. If this predator found the damaged carrier, India would lose its primary strategic leverage before the first shots of the war were even fired. Indian commanders prioritized keeping the carrier hidden. They secretly relocated the Vikrant to Port X-Ray, a remote, uninhabited location in the Andaman Islands that offered clear water and natural cover. Indian intelligence detected short radio bursts from the Bay of Bengal. The Ghazi was on the hunt, pinging headquarters, but these signals were too brief to reveal an exact location. The Ghost prowled the eastern seaboard, able to strike any port. Hiding was no longer enough. To ensure the Vikrant's safety, the Indian Navy decided to stop running and start dictating the submarine's movements through misdirection. Vice Admiral N. Krishnan developed a plan to lure the Ghazi into the heavily fortified and shallow waters near Visakhapatnam port. The first move was digital. The Indian Navy began broadcasting unencrypted radio messages, intentionally making it easy for Pakistan to intercept secret reports that the INS Vikrant was moving toward Visakhapatnam. Then came the physical evidence. The Navy ordered truckloads of meat and vegetables to the Visakhapatnam docks, quantities so large they could only be intended to feed a crew the size of an aircraft carrier. Local Pakistani informants witnessed the massive surge in supplies and relayed the details to their handlers. The reports on the ground perfectly matched the radio chatter being picked up by Pakistani naval headquarters. On November 25th, the bait was taken. Pakistani command ordered the Ghazi to Visakhapatnam, and the submarine went into complete radio silence to begin its final approach for the kill. India had turned the Ghazi's stealth against itself. By providing a false target, they had successfully guided an invisible enemy into a narrow, tactical cage. The Ghazi arrived at the harbor mouth in total silence and began laying a field of mines to trap the carrier it believed was coming. But during the operation, a routine Indian ship approached the harbor. To avoid detection and a potential collision, the Ghazi executed a violent emergency dive. The submarine slammed into the unexpectedly shallow seafloor. The impact was so severe that it pinned the Ghazi in the mud and dislodged its own volatile torpedoes from their firing tubes. While the Ghazi was stuck, India deployed the INS Rajput, an obsolete destroyer scheduled for decommissioning. The Rajput was ordered to sail with its signals on full power, acting as a loud sacrificial decoy to draw any remaining fire away from the real Vikrant. The high-tech Predator was paralyzed in the mud, while an aging, sacrificial ship sailed directly into the zone to finish the job. Near the harbor entrance, the Rajput sonar detected vibrations. It was the Ghazi, still struggling to break free from the silt on the ocean floor. The Rajput immediately dropped 2 depth charges directly onto the source of the vibrations. The shockwaves from the charges triggered a chain reaction with the Ghazi's dislodged torpedoes. A massive internal explosion tore through the submarine, killing the entire crew instantly. When the war officially broke out days later, the INS Vikrant was free to operate without the threat of a submarine attack. It moved into position and established a total naval blockade of East Pakistan. This blockade isolated the region and directly led to the surrender of 93,000 Pakistani troops, the largest surrender since the Second World War. The victory was finalized with firepower, but the opening move was won by convincing the enemy to hunt a ghost.